Well, after the show, the situation was obviously very tense. Emotions were running high backstage. We shot that. Take a look.
It was extremely uncomfortable to be on stage, not only with both women, but all the women in the audience as well.
It was really hard to see Sarah face to face. It brought up a lot of anger and resentment towards her.
I saw a lot of hatred from her. I felt guilt.
The best advice Dr. Phil gave me was,
You need to take an honest look at yourself. You just have no self-control, no boundaries to your relationship.
the most powerful thing that Dr. Phil said to me was,
where do the kids go? This has now started encroaching on their peace.
I am truly committed to try to make a change in my life. I want to do everything I can to respect the boundaries and do what we need to do to hold these families together.
Wouldn't you love to be 100% happily married to Michele?
Absolutely.
But you don't have that ability with anybody. That's why you're meeting your needs with two women, because Michelle's stable and predictable and secure. And then you're saying on the other side here, it's more electric and exciting and all of that. And those two things together kind of fills the hole.
Right.
Well, what you got to do is figure out, why can't I feel that good with my wife?
I'm thinking Brad is probably hurt over the fact that Sarah said she wants to be with her family and not have anything to do with him. And I think he's probably really freaking out thinking that I'm going to divorce him.
I do not believe that Sarah really wants me to leave her alone, because I really don't want to leave her alone.
I understand why I need to stay away from him. I do. I know it's not good for him or his family. You're my family, but I'm really scared that I don't have the strength to do it.
You clearly will go through some withdrawal, but you can do this. Look, you got sucked up in this, and you made some bad decisions, and you have to own those. On another level, you're a victim. I mean, this guy is good at what he does, and he came and picked you off, and you got involved with him. What I'm trying to do is grab you and shake you before you look up and go, oh my God, what have I done? What happened to my family? What about my kids? And I'm trying to get you to stop this before that happens. And for some reason, your husband is still hanging in there.
Well, what we should do with the baby that we share?
I don't think you make a decision about that right now, because right now you're this way. You're all emotional. Should he have a role in that child's life? That depends on what's best for that baby. Instinct says that because he's the biological father, he should, but I don't want that to be a temptation, manipulation, backdoor way of getting back together right now. We'll talk about that in the future.
Okay.
So let 24 hours go by
I'm so scared of that.
and calm down. Go home, be with your husband and your children.
He may not want anything to do with me anymore. It may be too late. I don't know.
I doubt it.
Brian, I just gotta do it.
You have got to walk away from her, or you're going to destroy a lot of people's lives, and then you're going to say, I wish I'd have got control of myself before my children had to pay the price, before her children had to pay the price. When you were here last time, you said this was like you got hit in the stomach, that this concept of you having 40 affairs was overplayed in the show. Now, you're the one that made the list, right?
Right. The clarification is it wasn't 40 women that I had sexual intercourse with, but there were people on there that I had flirted with and had some type of contact.
Well, you've heard my definition of cheating, right?
Exactly, and that's what I was going to say, that I've come to the conclusion that it doesn't matter. If it's something that she doesn't approve of, then it's cheating.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard it, my definition of cheating is if you wouldn't do it with her standing there, that's cheating.
Right.
And those 40 certainly failed that litmus test.
Absolutely.
You've said since the show that, now, wait a minute, this ain't all me. She's a pessimist. She doesn't communicate. She's not doing right in this. And Sarah is very manipulative and controlling and sucks you in too. And you said you came across as the total predator, and the two women involved in this came across as just total victims in this, right? And you object to that.
That's how I felt when we left the show.
You felt like I was harder on you than I was on them, and that was unfair. Okay,
Right.
well, let me do that again.
Okay,
You have to be in control of you.
I understand that.
I'm not going to talk to you about Michele. I'm not going to talk to you about Sarah. I'm going to talk to you about you. You say, I'm not a sex addict. Well, I don't want to play semantics with you. You say you're addicted to adrenaline, okay? And you get your adrenaline through this sexual assignation thing. It's taboo, it's exciting, it's fun. I mean, you told me that you admitted that backstage.
Right.
And now your theory is, well, I'm ADD. Just can't stay on one person. And so it's hard to commit long-term and concentrate. The things that you're talking about, Michele's pessimistic and has her problems. Sarah's controlling and has her problems. You may be ADD. All of those things are external. You have to own this for a variety of reasons. Number one, that's the only thing that's going to get you to stop and maintain that. And number two, you need to have pride in the fact that you are controlling yourself and you're making that choice if and when you do. You're not going to get an ADD pill that's going to fix this problem. That has nothing to do with you making a decision to turn outside your marriage.
I do get that.
You have anxiety about being here with the two of them now or just being here with Michele?
I was under the impression that we were going to talk about the baby, and in that circumstance, I only wanted to discuss it with Brad and you.
Do you believe that this situation with Brad is over with?
Yes, I do.
You feared when you were here with Brad again that it might rekindle old feelings.
I said seeing him, but of course, those feelings don't just automatically go away. There's no pill or switch or anything. So there's still feelings there, but...
Okay, and now a big question is, you have a child with you, and your position is that you think he should have no visitation rights with the child at all. Is that what your instinct tells you?
I believe it's in the best interest of the child for that to happen. Yes.
Okay, and tell me
And
the
that
reasoning that led to that conclusion.
That is because the baby has everything now that he needs. He has two parents that love him unconditionally, and there's nothing that he needs more than that.
I'm really glad to meet you. You either have the patience of Job or you're just really tuned out of all this that's going on around you, and I think that you've probably chosen to tune out some and have amazing patience as well. But we're talking about what's best for this child. You two want to raise that child, and if you never heard from them again, that would be okay, because you just raise the child and love the child and do all the right things that you think are healthy. And you don't have any opinion of Brad that's good at this point, correct?
Correct.
I mean, you think he's not a good person because you think he made friends to get to your wife
Yes.
and used and abused that trust, and so you think he is untrustworthy and not the kind of person that you think ought to be raising her child.
Right, and like we said, I mean, we do want him to know. We want the baby to know who his father is. But being as young as he is, and he just doesn't have the faculties to completely understand that now.
Do you have a negative opinion of Mike?
I didn't come here to talk about that.
You do need to talk about it because this is a person that is going to be a father figure, a male dominant role in your son's life. I'm not trying to get a flap going between you two, but in determining what is best for this child, can you say in good conscience that you are happy for your son to be raised in this man's image?
No, it's not. But, at this point, he's going to reside with his mother, and I would like to be the dominant influence, but I don't know how much of that is possible. But no, it's not all right.
And do you think that you feel differently or would treat this child differently because it's not your biological child, and in fact is the biological child of somebody that you hold in very low esteem?
Well, that's not his fault. It's not the baby's fault.
Do you think this relationship is stable?
Our relationship?
Yes.
Yes.
You think it's stable? I mean, she's just days out of a long, deceptive, and torrid affair with another man, and you say that you think it's a stable relationship?
Stable, yes. As far
opposed to healthy and good, or just?
Well, I mean,
are
it's
you-
not where we both want it to be yet. It's just not, hasn't been that long.
You're saying it's stable at a low level, but not in danger of disintegrating immediately. In other
Correct.
words, it's not where you want it, but it's something you think could be built on.
Correct.
I kind of hear you saying, however, that you're prepared to just step off and allow this to go, to just allow them to raise the child.
If that was the case, I would have done that a long time ago. I mean,
No, I
I'm
mean,
wanting to.
you're saying you don't
to try
want
to
to-
work this out. I'm trying to get them to have some dialogue, and I have been in contact with an attorney, and what he would like to do is either represent them as well, and all of us come in and sit down, or get with their attorney and try to resolve this as much out of the court as we can. And they're not willing to hear that. They're not willing to accept that. They want to fight over it.
Is that true?
We want truly what's best for that baby. And we want to be sure that what they're doing is the same feeling. That's what's best for the baby.
Do y'all have an opinion of Brad as a father to his other children?
I think he's a wonderful father.
I mean, from what I know, I have no problem with how he's raised his boys.
Okay. So the problem here is Michele. You don't have a problem with her either, but you have some small problems
I
that.
do, just because I have friends who are stepmoms, and it's not a good situation.
Right.
It's a hard job, and I think it would be hard for her.
But you were willing to run off into Neverland with my husband and leave your kids to have a potential stepmother? I mean, come on, get real.
Well,
But she never did do that. And how serious she was about ever doing that is still in question.
exactly. I think I always knew deep down that it would never happen.
First off, my number one concern is that in no way does this child become a pawn, a way for you to lash out at them or you to lash out at them. And I definitely feel an undertow of resentment and judgment and emotion here that I fear could dominate decision making. Number two, I have absolutely no opinion of you as a father. From everything I understand, you are a reasonable, rational, loving, if over tolerant individual. But I absolutely believe to the core of my soul that a child has the right and the need to have a relationship with their biological parents. And the arbitrary decision that, well, I'll just decide when the time is that that's good for that child, is not right and healthy thinking, in my opinion. Is there a price that the child has to pay by having an absent biological parent to the point that there has to be some sharing done? Yes, but that's what the two of you perpetrated. I appreciate both of you for being here, and I can tell you that you have a lot of work left to do, but you're doing it, and that you two stay away from each other. Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.